Okay, so now we're pulling up Sophia's chart. All right, Miss
My
Sophia.
my my heart is beating like so fast right now. Um, okay, again, I just want to say this has been coming up looking at these asteroid points and the asteroid goddesses and these other um, kind of faded ecliptic points. It's been coming up a lot for me, like really strong, and it's been a little bit overwhelming. I feel like I'm channeling. I'm very like shaky and just sort of sensitive right now with all this going on.
I want to honor
And
your vulnerability and I want to honor the fact, like when we have something like that, I just encourage everybody to get with a friend, to share, to get online, to speak your truth, to write a blog, to send a
yeah,
message. Because the more we put that out into the universe, what we're receiving, the more like it's available for other people as well. And the healing kind of gets globalized. So thank you, Sophia, for putting yourself on the
yeah,
spot and for channeling and for being vulnerable. And we're here all listening to support you.
thank you. I appreciate that. Um, so I have to speak with a bit more personal language for this than I have for Emery's chart because I'm going through this as we're speaking about it. So um, the first thing that I noticed when I was looking into this in my own chart, my vertex in Leo. This was actually a fun thing for me because sometimes when I have looked at my chart and when other astrologers have looked at my chart, not Emery, but like some other astrologers have looked at my chart and I'll like ask about music and performance and stuff and they're like, yeah, like if that's important to you, I guess do that. But my vertex is like in Leo, it's like you have to like what? You have to be out there, you have to be owning your creativity, you have to be out there kind of finding a spotlight. Um, which
It's
is like scary
interesting
to me,
too
but
because it's close to Black Lilith, but out of sign, and
yeah.
it's close to Mars, which is like
Hmm.
I'm taking
Creative
action to do
action.
this on a regular basis, and why? Because the eighth house, because of my deep transformation, and there's like no
Yeah.
way around that. And then it's like square the top of your chart in a like a little offish way, right? Like if you go
Yeah.
past your midheaven into your 10th house of power, there's a square there with the creativity. So when the creativity is happening, it lightens that square of power and allows you to operate right in that little zone. I'll just draw a little arrow right in between where Scorpio and Saggy happen, right there, just in the meat of the 10th house.
Yeah. In the meat of it. I like that. Um, yeah. And the anyway, and I've had everyone in my life who has been a transformative person, be it in just like a strong friendship, the kind that seems to have been established prior to this lifetime, or that was meant to be transformative in this lifetime, and romantic connection has had a connection to my vertex. So I've been like going through charts to see that. And those fated people, those fated events, there's a whole freaking eclipse series that happened in Leo in 2017 that was activating this point for me.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was and it was big, big, big changes in my life, like massive, decisions of moving and completely changing the trajectory of where my life was going. Um, so
Well, you
again, these
interestingly
kind of
have the
gate
part of
points.
fortune in Leo as well in your
So
seventh.
I want to,
So you're
yes. So I
attracted to
want to talk
that
about that.
too.
Yeah. So people with strong Leo placements. I have several friends with Leo moons, and I've befriended recently more Leo suns too, which makes sense for this time of transformation. For those who don't know, I'm going through lots of Pluto, burning down my identity, and revealing the core of what's there. But it's been quite an intense ride. And I've met several Leos during that process, and so I think that confirms again when you're going through these intense um, times of transformation. Look at the sign of your vertex, and you'll notice people with that energy kind of coming in to help you
Yeah.
and to facilitate that change that needs to happen.
My
The part of
recording engineer
fortune
is a Libra, so he's near my
in your
vertex.
vertex, yeah,
And
there you
yours
go,
is it's square your moon as well in the fourth house. So it's
yeah,
like you're stripping away my peace and my
yeah,
serenity at home and in my most private sense. So go away, be gone with
yeah,
thee.
yeah,
But then really it's what you need, which is the tricky, I think it's the hardest part of the Taurus journey. It's like the way often we get to that ultimate peace is not necessarily from status quo or from keeping things practical or sane or realistic, but from being willing to dive off the edge. And then in doing so, we create a piece, that's different than what was before. And that's the hardest
Right.
part.
And we're going to get into that with some of these other points too. That's when I might start crying. So the part of fortune as well in Leo in the seventh is almost exactly square my sun. It's like a few minutes away. And as I was speaking about with Emery's chart, the part of fortune is this opportunity for spiritual integration if you can, and sort of a Jupiterian style blessing if you can access those lessons. And with the part of fortune square my sun, there's a big lesson about owning identity. Leo is not embarrassed of who they are. Leo is out in the sun showing everybody exactly what's up and being like, yeah, you should, I mean, it's such a powerful love energy. Like I really love Leo energy because it's that kind of unconditional love. It's just like, but I have so much love to give. So of course I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to, and I'm going to receive it back. Like that's why Leo's a king, right? But it's like the kind of leader that you want to see because they love their people or their subjects and their family and
Well,
all
and
of
it's
that.
like Leo is a leader in the same way that Scorpio would be a leader. It's not
Yeah.
because they need to be in charge or the boss, but
No.
it's like the opposite. And I know they're not opposites, but the opposite thing is like Scorpio wants to be loved without being seen, and Leo
Yeah.
wants to be loved because and they both have an unconditional love journey. Where Scorpio, it's this unconditional love because you'll go anywhere with me and go deep as whatever, and nothing that I do will ever scare you because you're just right there with me. I have a client who's got some Scorpio placements, and her husband also does, and they're great. And they have that unspoken understanding of like, I will go to the depths of hell with you. We don't know how to talk about it. I'm already there. And
Yeah.
Leo is that unconditional love piece where it's like, no matter what I look like, how I've done, I get this huge validation, and not like I'm validating you or you're pretty, but like internal soul validation, because there's nothing you could ever do that I would love you less. And they feel that and experience that. And so I think it's really interesting to pair the two together.
Yeah. And I think it's also a lesson of, I mean, I really like squares because I feel like squares are a call to action. They're a provocation so that you can act. And I think I also get along really well with other fixed signs, and all the fixed signs are square each other, just like all the mutable signs are square each other. Um, but anyway, I feel like this is a lesson that like the part of fortune in Leo is asking my sun in Scorpio, like, hey, own yourself, own who you are. Please step into the light with your sun and like own that. And then if you do that, guess what? They'll get like all these fun Leo blessings.
Well, it's
And
cool
that's
too because it's like the ninth house is expansion, and that's who you are. A part of who you are is here to like expand, but it's almost like,
yeah,
hey, you do this in tandem. And I think the square lessons are often things where you can't go from one extreme to the other. Like, I'll just be myself out in the world no matter what, and who cares if I'm in a relationship? Or the
mm-hmm.
other extreme, I'll just be in a relationship and like, who cares who I am out in the world? This is like, well, no, you have to express and be more of who you've ever been in a relationship and expand yourself transformatively in the world in tandem with new perspectives on each from those that you encounter.
Yeah, no, exactly. Um, okay, so getting into the more sensitive stuff for me right now. Um, when I look at Pallas conjunct Pluto in my 10th house, there is another validation on the one hand that my creative intelligence is something that will not only pervade my career of doing something creative, but that my transformative power comes through my creativity. And that was really affirmative for me to see when I was looking at these points. Um, what Emery just highlighted with my Vesta and my Ceres, this is the more kind of intense shit for me. So I'm a fire priestess. I don't know how else to say this, but it's like all of my goddess asteroids are in these fire signs, and in Sagittarius specifically, it's this pursuit of philosophy, of higher truths, of exploration, of teaching and learning. And I think this has been the hard part for me because I have, when we're talking about Vesta, as I was with Emery's chart, Vesta is this point where we are almost sacrificially devoted to something you would give your life for, something that you would tend to make sure that that flame did not extinguish with priestess-like devotion. And with Sagittarius, it's like it's these higher truths. It's, you know, these higher visions and ideals. And it's in the 11th house, which is like this group function as well, which I'll come back to. And it's exactly conjunct Ceres, so it's also, you know, to feel fully nurtured, I need to be involved in these quests. I have to go on quests for these higher truths. And the reason this has been so hard, and especially the last couple of days has been so hard, is that I've been coming to the realization that my entire life I've always been saying, you know, I just want to run away to the temple, and I just want to be, you know, in the temple, and I want to find a teacher. I really want a teacher, you know. And the lesson always when you're looking for something outside of yourself is that it's within you. I know that I am the teacher, but the hard thing about that for me right now is that it feels like I'm being ripped away from my temple, because actually the temple is outside, and it's where I have to carry it with my life everywhere that I go. And Sagittarius does not stay in one spot. It's nomadic. It is constantly, you know, looking for these other places to be, other people to connect with, other truths to discover. And kind of like what Emery was saying about my Taurus moon earlier, that's not conducive to like comfort. That's not yes, you know, set up your lovely home and be there for forever. That's not what this mission is. And so I think when I was accepting this whole, when these words about, you know, fire priestess came up, it's like I have to devote myself to that. I have to be willing to leave, and I have to be willing to change, and I have to go. And I have to find these people, as the connection in the 11th house, this like band of other like goddess seekers who are trying to implement this new flame for the new world that's trying to come into light right now. And it's so scary because I have no idea what to expect or what that looks like. And it's a quest. It's the beginning of a quest, and it feels like I'm leaving behind everything that I've ever known, and everything that I don't even know that I don't know. And it's like leaving behind every old identity that I've ever clung to, every old story that doesn't fit anymore, all in this quest to accept this role. So I have to accept that role.
It's so interesting because you, in the way that you're talking, focus a lot on finding another person or finding people or finding a tribe or
It's more like
finding.
magnetizing them. It's like they're coming in. It's like
But
magnetizing them.
I feel like, you know, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius, which is sort of this little top corner of your chart, are very individual signs. They are
Yeah.
doing their thing, and people align or follow or not. And then you have this whole other right side of your chart that's like collaboration. And it's like your
Yeah.
sun and your Mercury and Chiron and Node and Venus and Mars and Moon. And like all of that stuff is collaborative. And like when you say you're leaving something and doing something new, it's like you're leaving your personal planets because like you're not needing to have a human experience constantly to
Yeah.
validate who you are, to pay past dues or whatever. And I just also thought of fire, you know, like fire is initiatory. So when you have
Yeah.
all this grand fire trine lighting up your chart like this, you're made to be an initiator. You are an initiator. You're the only one that can do it. And I
Yeah.
love how supportive your Capricorn is. Your rising is 19, your moon is 19. It's making a perfect, beautiful trine to integrate who you are in the world and who you are deeply emotionally that no one needs to know about if you don't care to discuss it. But probably, you know, you will for people that are in your closest home of heart. But that Capricorn power with Jupiter there, hello, is like, and it's Jupiter in the 12th. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't Jupiter in the first where like, I'm larger than life and people will follow me. It's Jupiter in the 12th. Like, I'm making a huge impact on the unveiling and the undoing and the taking away of everything that isn't completely me. And people may not even ever know about my 12th house Jupiter, but I know and I feel it and I know how amazing that power is, and it's right here for me. So it's like, although the fire can be intimidating and unknown, and it's almost like if you feel impulsive, that's the way to go, which is like, no, I'm a Capricorn rising with a moon in Taurus. I will plan this out to the T, and I am a Scorpio, so I will hide over here until I know that safe for me to like have this deep spiritual experience. But your chart doesn't allow you to do that. Your sun is conjunct your midheaven, and you have a Capricorn rising with Jupiter in the 12th house. And all of this fire trine goddess energy is just supporting that in a way that's exciting and deep and visceral. And it's what you want. It's just not necessarily the way to get there, isn't maybe the way you would choose to arrive at that point. But the point is what
Right.
you want. It's
Yeah.
always been what you want. Um, and I love looking at your chart this way because we've never looked at the sort of the goddess energy, but look at all those fire boxes.
I know. I
I
know.
mean, it's amazing. And your north node is in Libra. So this knowing of connection and the Chiron in Libra, this knowing of the connection that's so important, it doesn't negate the individuality and the uniqueness of your journey. And if there's a tribe, then I guess you're starting it because I
Yeah,
cannot
exactly.
honestly
That's
picture
no,
you
that's
going to any
that's the
tribe.
vibe though. That's the vibe
Yep.
that I get, Emery. It's like I have to like if I think that's why this you were saying initiation a lot about being an initiator. And I feel like I just got initiated by like the powers that be and like here we go. And when I'm saying like magnetizing, it's like I have to yeah, like I form the tribe. Yeah, crazy.
It's pretty amazing. I'm just
It's
honored that you
crazy.
would share it with our astrology tribe, to be honest with you. So thank you for, I
Yeah.
don't know, being willing to go there. And I want to encourage anyone listening, whatever you're going through, there is an astrological way of pulling it apart. And it's so great because it is personal and deep and visceral and raw, visceral, whatever.
Visceral.
It's visceral. But
Visceral
it's
and vulnerable. I love that.
right, visceral.
Like yeah.
We've now coined a phrase that is trademarked. It's like it also pulls you away from it and it can be rather subjective. You can just be out here looking at something, my chart, and then you can bring it in and bring it home and have the emotions. And I love that astrology can be both of those things. So thank you for being willing to be all of the things with us today, Sophia.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me the space.
Absolutely. Do you have any plugs? Anything that we should be looking for, going to, clicking on, dragging on? Anyone that wants
um
to join Sophia's Fire Tribe, please
my fire
apply.
tribe. Oh
She'll
my
be
gosh, the
taking
fire.
she'll be taking
Oh my
resumes
gosh.
for the Fire Tribe.
Yes. Submit your application. Message me through the Facebook group. Especially if you want to talk about this kind of stuff. I would love to be able to practice more of this with the asteroid energy. So if you are interested in having a reading with me or looking into those kinds of aspects, shoot me a message. And we can go from there. And there's some music stuff coming too. So stay tuned for that.
Woo! Absolutely. So yeah, join the Fire Tribe, Asteroid Goddess Tribe with Sophia, and get yourself a reading with her. And just know that you are all supported and loved during this crazy time where we get to rejuvenate our goddess spirit and our
Yeah.
oneness spirit and our connection and our humanness. So thanks everybody for tuning in.